Welcome to Kev's Travel Stories. Each week I'll be bringing you a story from the weird and wonderful world of travel, a world that can change the way you see life and love and even the way we find meaning. Places that are iconic and sometimes surprising and even terrifying. So sit back and enjoy while we go on a magical mystery tour together. Welcome to Kevin's Travel Stories, and this week we are going to look at some of the weirdest and most wonderful Airbnbs that you can rent. The reason I have chosen this subject is I was in Slovenia recently at the Ljubljana, the capital, and we visited a flower shop during the Summit for European Food, which was a wonderful event. This flower shop really tickled my fancy though, because upstairs, surrounded by carnations and lilies, was a big red bed. Furthermore, the bed was heart-shaped. Furthermore, the bed had a mirror, heart-shaped mirror above it, and red curtains, so whatever you were getting up to in your bed with your mirror was concealed from any prying eyes. This started me thinking, particularly when I saw the church organ and the priest's vestments, which were also there, what weird and wonderful places can you actually stay in? Because I discovered that this flower shop, complete with its bed, was free for rental on Airbnb when the shop closed on a Friday evening, all the way through till Sunday. So what an idea to wake up in the middle of the night in your bed, surrounded by the bouquet of all of these flowers. That was pretty weird and wonderful, and it got me thinking, how else can we spice up our holidays rather than staying in just boring accommodation? Is there something a little weird and wonderful? Well, dear listeners, on your behalf, I did a little bit of digging and came up with these options if you want to have a rather weird and wonderful stay in a location. Starting off with an igloo. This is in the Playa Lusato National Park. Come prepared for the cold because you're going to stay in an iced dome, just like the Eskimos. You're recommended to bring your own sleeping bag, thermal wear, because below sub-zero temperatures are expected. Now, the good thing about this is there is a house nearby where you can go and attend to all your natural functions and have a warm shower. And on the return to your igloo, your ice-cold igloo, you often get the chance to glimpse the northern lights. Now, how wonderful would that be if you're not too afraid of the cold? Now, next up on my weird and wonderful Airbnb list, how about staying on top of a 150-foot crane? The sort of cranes that dot cities which are being built and reconstructed. This crane is in the port of Amsterdam. It's a bi-level apartment which features a rain shower, air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and for an additional fee, the use of a shared hot tub. Now, this is in the very famous NDSM area, which is overlooking the port of Amsterdam and is full of bars, street murals, fantastic restaurants and art galleries. So you can live literally on top of the world, and the prices for that range from 300 to 400 euros, depending on the season. And again, check out all of these prices fluctuate. But how about that? I'm going to Amsterdam to live on top of a crane for a couple of nights. Getting a little weirder now rather than wonderful. How about a couple of nights living in a potato? No, I am being deadly serious. This 6-ton potato used to travel on the back of a lorry. Actually, the Idaho potato it was called, and it used to be one of the great marketing tricks and tools that the Idaho tourist board and potato industry used to encourage people to buy their potatoes. So some bright spark took the 6-ton potato and converted it into a small little bedroom with all the mod cons that you need. Furthermore, it's now on a 400-acre farm in Idaho, and your neighbour is none other than Dolly the Jersey cow, who'll be your pet for your stay. And at $170 a night, I think that's a pretty weird and wonderful way to spend a vacation. Going into the truly weird now, how about a stay in a cemetery? Now, most people would feel fairly spooked just visiting a cemetery. I love cemeteries and have taken my grandkids to Glasnevin, a very famous cemetery in Dublin, many times. There's something about being with the dead that is very calming. But I know a lot of people would not think that. The other thing is, I always leave as the sun sets and the spookies come out. Here, you'll be staying, it's in Devon, you'll be staying right in the cemetery grounds in this wonderful lodge, which used to be inhabited and is now being converted with all the mod cons into something that's absolutely spectacular to look at. Whether you want to get up in the middle of the night when you hear a sound, maybe you hear a rustle outside the door, or you hear a creak or a tap on the window, and you look out and you're surrounded by headstones. 150 sterling a night. Some people are not content just to be by ghosts. They want to actually be visited by ghosts. The famous Chillingham Castle, which has been on many, many reality TV shows and those spooky shows that feature people going around with infrared cameras. It's a 13th century Grade 1 listed building in the UK, and it has, in Northumberland, its own torture chamber, hidden dungeon, and you can even see rather grimly the scrawlings of condemned prisoners. Not for the faint-hearted. But most spookily of all, Chillingham has a reputation second to none for supernatural visitors coming knocking on your door at night. Now, can you imagine that? Staying where you're going to be visited by the dead. That nearly was my number one choice for a weird Airbnb. But it was blown out of the water, literally, by what I'm going to share with you next. The weirdest Airbnb. It's a two-header, actually. It's a nuclear bunker in New Mexico. Now, those that have seen Oppenheimer know the horror of nuclear annihilation. It gripped Europe and America and the Soviets in the 60s and the 70s, where we were all 4 minutes away from nuclear annihilation. The American military built these silos, these Minuteman silos, deep in the hearts of America, dotted all around the place. They were hardened enough to withstand a direct nuclear hit. Can you imagine that? They were decommissioned about 20 years ago, and one bright spark decided to take over this that had become fully immersed in turgid water and turn it into an Airbnb. Can you imagine it? Difficult to imagine. You'll be sitting or lying in a bedroom that was once a hardened case against a nuclear bomb. Next to your bed, which is now complete mod cons. When you go on Airbnb, this has everything. It has showers, it has Netflix TVs, it has beautiful coffee makers. But next door to you is the command center, which would have spread nuclear annihilation across the planet. A sobering thought. And you can actually go into the command center and sit down, and there were 2 command places where the keys were put in, and they had to keep the personnel separate just in case they launched a nuclear attack by accident. And that nearly happened a couple of times. So you can actually go into this very spooky room next to your bedroom to see where the end of the world could have been initiated once that call came through, and the red telephone is sitting there. It's pure Dr. Strangeglove. Very weird. I thought I could not find anything weirder. Then I came across the site that really takes my number one spot for weird Airbnb. This is an actual Titan II missile. The same guy that made the Airbnb nuclear hardened bunker is in the process of turning a Titan II missile into a 4-bedroomed, 103 foot long, 10 foot wide Airbnb space. So there you are sitting atop the missile that would have been not 1 time stronger than Hiroshima, not 10 times, not 100 times stronger than the Hiroshima bomb, which caused such mayhem and death. 70,000 people died. It is 600 times bigger, the impact. It would wipe out an entire city and every person upon that city. And now you can actually go to sleep in the cone at the top where the missile was, the nuclear missile warhead was. I can think of nothing weirder than that. And who would want to do that? It really gives you pause for thought. And at $600 a night, I suppose it's not that expensive. But think of the mindset. Would you want to sit there where the nuclear warhead was and go to sleep? Could you sleep sat in your nuclear bunker? There are my choices. Which one would you choose? Please let us know. And you can let us know by joining us on Instagram. We have very many listeners to these Kevin's travel stories and our top travel destinations. Only about 8% of our listeners have registered with our account on Instagram. So please do that. It's for free. It's the Top Travel Destinations Instagram account. You will get all the updates that you need, and it would really help us spread our message. So thanks for listening. See you on Instagram. And which of these weird and wonderful titles and places would you pick as your top weird Airbnb choice?